Hello, fellow builders, and welcome back to the bench. Mediocre Modeler here. Now, normally I would say ready to start our next project, but in some ways I kind of already have. I'll catch up though. What are we working on? Well, let me tell you. We're working on the Black Panther. I never was a comic book reader, and I really appreciate the introduction to characters that I never would have sought out were it not for the movies. And no one can argue that Chadwick Boseman did a great job as Black Panther. So I wanted to seek out a model that I just had to have something in my collection. I want it to be about the same size as like the dragon models I've got. I think they're like 1/9 scale. It's kind of what I did with the Daredevil. I sized it to what the rest of the models are, so everything kind of stays in the same realm. This is the model I picked. Here's the file I used from CG Trader. It's a great likeness of Black Panther, and he's on top of a Black Panther. The model breaks down like that. So each different color obviously is a different print. This is where things start to take a left turn for me because, one, I can't leave well enough alone. And no, let me just be clear, it's a beautiful print. The two things that I don't like are, well, okay, don't like is a strong word. Had I been the one doing it, I would have done differently. One, the Panther, it's got that faceted look to it, and I don't care for that part of it. And it's big, and Black Panther's big, and I feel like the Panther should be a little bit smaller. And I wanted to do a little bit more with it because I wanted to have it like on an outcropping, like a rock. My plan was to sand down some of that faceting, and if you sand it down enough, it kind of looks like muscle, which maybe that was the original plan, I don't know. Or with the faceting on there, if you coat it with like a stone spray or something like that, it takes away some of that faceting, and it makes it look more like rock. But that's not the point. I wanted to mess with it a little bit, and I had a couple ideas. So I sent the first print there because I wanted to change the size of the the Panther in the model. I had to get Black Panther printed first. And so the first print, I just sent it to the thing, had it print, not really sure what size it was going to be, and this is actually the second one. This is the second print. And it is super detailed. It looks fantastic. But it's way too small. I mean,
I never yielded, and as you can see, I am not dead. But I need to be much bigger.
so I started upping the size. I ended up upping the figure himself to, I think, 350 to 400%, and then the Panther was at 300%, and that gave me hold on, 185% and 300%, right? And so I had the idea. So you got these, and then you've got Black Panther himself. Look at beautiful, beautiful on detailing. One thing I did like with my Ahsoka, with the pieces, they had a peg in a slot, and they fit together. Whereas these have a just kind of a smooth surface where the arms and the legs go on, and they didn't lock in. I had to do a little bit of adjusting and sanding, and the top and the bottom came together pretty good. The front's good. The back had a little bit large of a gap that I wanted, but hey, that's model building. That's what we're here for, to fill the gaps and da 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 da. But I thought, since I had both of these, right? You know, I could have 1 foot on one and 1 foot on the other. But then this goes back to getting me where I was with having the base overshadowing the model itself. So we're going to save this guy for another thing. The 185, the little one. So the bigger one, again, you can see you can see 1 foot's supposed to go there, and one's supposed to go there, and the foot sizes, right? So it's not far off, but I can get the 1 foot there, but his other foot's going to be floating out in space. That's where I had the idea of this being like on an outcropping, so you would have rock down here and maybe a rock wall behind him. And I had to figure out how to do that. We're going to take a step a little bit backwards on this. So to make the outcropping, originally I was going to try and raise the large one, and then that didn't kind of work. So I decided to raise the little one, but Black Panther wasn't in one piece, so I had to glue them together so I could get a better feel for how this base structure was going to work. But the original idea was to do it with foam and maybe some Sculpey to get the rock structure. I just could not get it to work the way I wanted it to. So the next idea was to go to Fusion 360, and I made a base, and the base, this center part here, it locks in at around that part. So that outer lip will rest on that. And the idea was for me to take this piece, and let's flip it around. Oop, one more time. Yeah. So it's hollow, and I figured I left it hollow so that I could fill it with something heavy, some concrete or whatever, because the way it would be is it would stick out. The base would be back here. Black Panther would be somewhere up there, and I needed to make sure the base of it had weight to it. It didn't tip forward. Then the idea was that we would just, this outer surface, we would go and download a 3D file for rock and add it to this structure. That was the idea. It didn't go well. And what I ended up doing was I did download several rock files, and what I found is here in Lychee that I can add them to the surface here. The thing is, I never thought of Lychee or any of these slicing programs that way. I figured I could do everything in Fusion 360, and by the time I downloaded it here, all I was doing is dropping it in, sizing it right, and printing it off. It still has the open cavity in the bottom of it, which I don't think I'm going to need. My plan kind of at this point is I really want to fill that in and then drop it back on here, download my rock wall surfaces here, and add them to the outer edge. That's the plan. And even in here, I can drop a rock in there and then size it up or down, stretch it out or whatever. So I'll get the same effect. I just kind of wish I could have been able to do it all in Fusion 360. And then by the time I got here, all I was doing is printing it, and I know that it would be correct. That's what I'm going to work on next. So after about 3 hours of literally dragging and dropping and resizing and rotating, this is what we came up with. And for a rock base, I think it looks really good. I was really concerned with this leading edge right there because I was trying to get the rocks as close as I could to it. But that can always be sanded down or what, and I wasn't sure how close it was going to come to our Panther. So it fits just like that. All right, and so with this edge, I can go in and fill that with some Bondo filler or whatever, and I can actually blend those two edges together. But what does that do for our Black Panther? That leaves me with still with kind of the whole situation of having his foot out in the open and seeing where his foot lands. I want to put a rod in here, and I want to make sure the rod goes through the body, right, and into the base. Just want everything to stay secure. But once I've got that and that, once I've got him there, I can figure out how to stabilize this foot. I might actually just get myself a little post, put a little post there, and then I can build the rock up behind it. So that's the plan. That's the plan. So while that's finishing its curing, I made some rocks. And I haven't really looked at them yet. Oh, those look pretty good. I'm going to get these popped off and cleaned up so that we can work on that placement of the foot. But yeah, we got to get these off first. That back foot location, what we're going to do is we're going to fill it. Not fill it, fill it. What we're going to do, we're going to take a little bit of styrene, take a little, we're just going to lay it down inside there, spread it around. Our UV light, cure it. Eventually we're going to sand it. Ooh, come on. Sand it out. We just don't want it to look like a foot. Solid. Now that everything is cured, 3D printed. Anyway, now that everything's cured, we can get things lined up so we can start assembling and painting. So the challenges are: 1, mounting Black Panther onto the base. Normal go-to would be to put a post in there. The problem is, since this is not solid, and I've had problems drilling through resin prints, it's just it's kind of funky, and I wasn't sure that I knew for a fact that I could not get all the way down if that had been solid. So what I chose to do was use a rod. I had some brass tube and a rod that was that I could slide in there, and so put myself a sleeve inside where the foot mount would be. The other problem is drilling a vertical hole. You can try with your hand and like, oh, that looks good. It's never good. Take it to the drill press. That's what I ended up doing. Taking it to the drill press. I knew I had a nice vertical hole. And once you have that vertical hole, then you can do some mild adjustments. So the tube is in there, the hole, bottom of the foot, and it goes a little sleeve right on there. And I just, once I have the placement for this back foot, find something I can sit there to kind of, because I want to show it to you, but I can't hold it and show you at the same time. I want you to stay. Stay right there. Go like that. Okay. Hold on. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. Right there. Okay. Stand by. Okay. My plan is to get it right there, right? And I can never get my feet flat. Not that flat. I'm just so stoked about that. So all I have to do now is build this back end up. And I think what I'm probably going to do is just put a piece of styrene, glue a piece of styrene to the back here to make sure that foot is somewhere where it's going to stay in place. And that this is going to be how it's going to be. And then I can build up the rocks behind it. But I'm very happy with that placement. That's awesome. So if you take a look at that last segment, you'll see a couple of times where I just sit there, cross my arms, and just look at the thing. I'm not going to say this was eating my lunch, but boy, It was a challenge. Having that foot just hang out there like that was throwing me off big time. And what I ended up doing was finding a rock that fit the toe part, right? Like you had the toe, and I had a rock that would kind of fit it. Drilled a hole in it, drilled a hole in the base, got my angle right, and then started with the toe, and then found another rock that I could mount to the heel of the foot, and then just started building the rocks around it. And that's really why I had to stop. I ran out of rocks. I ran out of 3D printed rocks, so I got to print some more. And gotta tell you, I'm getting way too much joy out of 3D printed rocks. Who knew? I mean, I was just giddy. Like, look, I have rocks. So what we're going to do is we're going to get more rocks printed and build it out. Now, I know it looks a little bit rough, and my plan is to fill in some of the cracks and smooth everything out. Make it look like a better transition. I might even put some grass or something over the rock so you have maybe a little bit of like hillside going to a rocky structure going to the panther made out of rock jutting out of the hillside. But we got to get the rocks printed first. So, until next time, it's time for you to experience the joy and frustration of model building. So you should go build something. But until next time, have fun. Be safe. Go build something. It will Wakanda forever. See you later.
Pew 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 pew.